Hello world, welcome back to Agile on the Trail. It is a very sunny, beautiful day here in Columbus, Ohio. Weather is currently 51 degrees. We're expected to get to 60 today. It is Sunday, March 26. I am less than 4 days away from flying out to Amicalola Falls, Georgia to start staging for my Appalachian Trail attempt of a thru hike. I will be hitting the trail on April 1st, Saturday. So this coming Saturday. That's no joke, by the way. I know it's April Fool's Day. That was intended. Mostly because of two factors. One, it gives me an extra month to prepare and sort out my gear and straighten out my affairs here at home. And then number two, wait a little bit for slightly better weather to start off with. The weather, April versus March. So those were the two reasons. Anyways, this is my big three. Yes, my big three. Finally, my first gear review. I know, I'm a procrastinator at heart. So let's get through it. I got some notes that I'm going to be referencing and stuff. I have tested both of these tents and my sleep gear on previous overnights and other hikes. So let's see what my big three is. First on my big three list is going to be my backpack. This thing right here. As you guys can already tell, it is an ultralight backpack. It has no frame. It's basically a large bag. It is made by the Evolved company. May have heard of them. A little YouTuber, slightly famous, that I have watched multiple of his videos and everything else, started his own company called Evolved. That would be Darwin on the Trail. So Darwin, this is for you. I bought your backpack. I was number 68 in the pre-order back in, I believe, December is when it first happened. I'm kind of proud to say that I might be one of the only people this year on the Appalachian Trail using your backpack. I know there's probably a couple hundred people out there already that has your backpack. I don't know how many intended to hike the Appalachian Trail this year, because I literally got this from you about a month ago. So that's, right at the beginning of the bubble. So not too many people would probably have the time to settle into the backpack, test it out before going on the Appalachian Trail as a thru hike. I'm sure people are going out there doing day hikes and section hikes, but I'm not sure if I'm the only person out there that's doing it as a thru hike using your backpack. So Darwin, thank you very much. I love this backpack. It is absolutely a great backpack. It is well designed. Darwin absolutely delivered on this. For a disclaimer, I'm not sponsored. I don't know Darwin personally. Not getting paid for this. This is just my own review, my own thoughts on Evolve's backpack. This is called the Ranger. It is black. I don't mind it. It has a lot of great features. First and foremost, it has a very large storage area. Comes with a liner already when you buy it. The top is a snap top like this, and it rolls down. So that's that style backpack. Shoulder pads are nice and comfy. They have the typical straps where you can hook in various items. I tend to, on this side, put in my own shoulder strap pouch that I've gotten off the Z-Packs. I did order the shoulder packs from Evolve Supply Company. They're okay. Don't mind them, but I like the Z-Packs shoulder pad pack that I purchased. fits, I believe, better with the phone and stuff I'm carrying, so I'm using that instead. On this side, I'm using my Garmin inReach Mini 2. It's going to be up here way high, so I might, as I'm going through the trail, attach something here. Also on this side of the pouch, I tend to tie a handkerchief because my nose runs all the time. You guys have seen that in videos and stuff. Love the side pouches. These are big side pouches that you can really get things into, stick them into. They're elastic, so they kind of grab everything. A lot better on that, on the side pouches. On the bottom is a little pouch right here that I put my hand into. This is intended for like trash, like, you know, just reach back and store your trash as, you know, you're eating your power bar or your trail snack or whatever, and you're done. Instead of, you know, trying to figure out how to store it, you can just reach right back, put it under here. It does have a strap that goes over the top. This is a brass clip, very sturdy. Comes over, attaches here. It's great for cinching down the top a little bit more, or if you're carrying a bare canister, helps with that as well. Then this strap right here is a strap that helps you gather things in. If you put your hiking poles in these side pouches here, it helps you strap the hiking poles here. Here is a compression cord, so it really kind of compresses the sides in. Helps you compress down your backpack a little bit more. This big outer pouch, it is nice. What can I say about this? It's not as like a thin mesh, like you can't see my hand. Other backpacks that I have used, you can see your hand because it's like a thin mesh. This is very sturdy. This is very good, sturdy material. It stretches a little bit, but it's very rugged. You probably won't be able to stuff as much stuff into this type of outer bag than like that very stretchy nylon material that you know, you think you're going to break or whatever. But this is well worn. This will take a beating so far. It's taken a beating from me already. So let me look at my list here because I printed off a lot of things. So the material that this backpack is used for is not Dyneema. Darwin and his company developed a material called EcoPack, and basically each yard of the fabric of EcoPack, this is off their website, uses over 20 recycled plastic water bottles. So this is a recycled backpack. Does good for the environment. It helps recycle our waste, because we go, let's be honest, people, we do too much waste. It's very consumer driven. Water bottles, plastic bags, everything else. We're horrible about this. So it's good to see that not only is it a well-designed backpack, but it also is environmentally conscious. Let's see here. Aluminum alloy G-hook. I'm sorry, that's not brass. That's aluminum alloy G-hook. Let's see here. It does come with let's see here, 2 shoulder pockets, pack liner. It's nylon fume. So this material here is nylon fume, and it's sturdy. It goes all the way down. I pack things into it. I've hiked with this bag in the rain, and even though I had that liner in it, this is pretty water resistant. It's almost waterproof, but it's not really. They're never going to claim waterproof, but this definitely gives you that extra layer of protection in case you do get some soak through. All in all, it is a heavier backpack than the one I was using. I was using a Z-Packs 38 liter Dyneema backpack that is built very similar to this. There was no, like, the shoulder pads wasn't pads or straps. The belt was just basically a thin strap belt. So these are padded. This is padded. Definitely more material. It's about, I weighed it at like 24 ounces on my scale. I believe that is very close to the website. I don't think I have that here on my notes. I didn't get it. The base model of this off of Evolved Supply Company website is starting at $250. It's not cheap. In fact, what you're going to see here is not cheap. If you want to go ultralight, if you want to save a ton of weight, you got to spend the money. I know there are cheap alternatives and stuff out there. Other more well-renowned YouTubers have already covered that. I'm just covering my big three, and that right now was my backpack. So this is my home on my back for the attempt of the Appalachian Trail thru hike. All right, let's get into the tent. You guys may recognize the tent. It is a Z-Plex duplex tent, Z-Pax duplex tent. Very standard tent, very popular tent. It's burnt orange in color. It requires 2 trekking poles. See one here, and you might see one back there to set up. The trekking poles don't have to be a particular length, just standard trekking poles. The trekking poles I'm using here are Cascade aluminum trekking poles with a cork grip to them. First trekking poles I ever bought. I used to hike a lot when I was much younger without trekking poles. Didn't think, anything of it, but to be honest with you, now that I'm hiking with trekking poles, I love them. I won't go hiking without trekking poles if I possibly can. So anyways, trekking poles, great, but they're used for the tent setup. Here's the catch. When you look at the statistics, the weight specifically for the tent, they don't include the poles. Why? Because it depends on what poles. I'm using aluminum poles. Each of these poles weigh about 11 ounces each, almost about 1.5 pounds total combined together. They're aluminum, they're a little heavier. The carbon fiber poles that I snapped several videos back, much lighter. They weighed like 5 ounces each, 6 ounces, whatever. So that's why they don't include the weight in the tent, because it really is varying on what type of pole you use to set up the tent. But it does require 2 trekking poles, or you can, if you're out in the wilderness and you got plenty of wood supply, you can make your own poles when you set up camp. You don't have to bring trekking poles. Anywho, I just got the burnt orange variant. I've had this tent for probably going on 2 years now. I have no complaints. If people aren't used to the Z-Pax design of their tent, this is called a bathtub type of flooring. You don't actually stake this down. Let me see if I can turn the camera here a little bit. There we go. So you notice this isn't staked down. What it is staked down is out here on this guideline. This is called a bathtub because when you lay in it, it looks like a bathtub. It is actually very comfortable. Turn the camera back. It is very comfortable to sleep in. A lot of room. I'm a little bit taller, so I set up my sleep pad and my sleep system in there a little bit of an angle, just because it helps me prevent my feet and my head from touching the ceilings and the walls and stuff of the tent. It is a single wall tent. I've been in the rain with it. I have been in the wind with it. I've camped with it multiple times. It's a good tent. It's very light. Let's see here. Where is my note about the total weight of the tent? Let's see here. So with stakes, and I'm using a 6-inch titanium stakes off of Z-Pax. This total tent, actually the tent itself, the total tent and the aluminum stakes, which requires 8 stakes, 8 whatever, is 23.8 ounces. That's of course according to my scale. It's a little hanging scale that I use. Scales will vary. So very lightweight tent, 23.8 ounces for the stakes and the tent. Of course, I told you the poles already, because I'm using aluminum, are slightly over like 11 ounces each. So that's 22 ounces of poles. So the poles themselves weigh just as much as the tent and the stakes. All right, last but not least, let's get to my sleep system in there. So the yellow you see in here is a Nemo Tensor airbag, regular wide. I've had that again for pretty close to 2 years. The sleeping bag that I have is a Western Mountain mountaineering sleeping bag, 25-degree down. I don't mind cold weather. I'm absolutely fine in cold weather. I don't freeze as some people may. That sleeping bag I have used on snowpacks, and I'm okay, especially with the sleep pad. Now the pillow, let me get in here. This is called reuse. So this is actually my stuff sack for my sleeping bag. So it is waterproof. It's a Western Mountaineering stuff sack that came with the sleeping bag. And I basically reuse it as a pillow. What I do have in here is like a shirt, one that I wore out when I was starting to set this up, a flannel shirt. Normally what I would do out hiking stuff, I'll put my puffy coat in here, or some other like my mid layer or whatever if I don't need it. But this is my sleeping bag, or my pillow. So I'm not carrying a blow up pillow, I'm not carrying a separate pillow. I'm basically reusing gear that I already have as a pillow. So additional weight savings. All right, so that is my big three. So what does that mean big three wise? So my big three was stakes and poles. Everything here, including the backpack, weighs 7 pounds, 7.8 pounds, or 125 ounces total, all combined together. That's not bad. Not bad at all. I think the tent itself is something like $600 on the website right now. Don't quote me. But again, to get this weight down to 7.8 pounds, just shy of 8 pounds, for all three, sleep system, backpack, shelter, it costs a lot of money, people. It's no joke. I am going to pause here, and we're going to return and look at the other tent that I bought for a lot more money, because honestly, I wasn't sure which tent I was going to take. I wasn't sure if I was going to take this tent or the other tent. I've decided I'm going to take this tent. After setting both up, looking at it, I've used both hiking and backpacking already, and I do like both. The other one is lighter by a couple of ounces overall. It is lighter. However, this tent right here, for me, while I sacrifice headroom and a little bit of length, which I kind of need since I'm going, kind of a little bit sideways in the tent there. I could sleep, straight, parallel with the tent, but I choose to go sideways in this tent. I choose those because this tent provides me more space. I feel like I have more room. I can actually store my gear in the tent with me as I'm sleeping, instead of out here in the vestibule area that is set up when you extend this out like this, which is fine. I've stored my gear in the vestibule area as well on these tents. But I am choosing to hike the Appalachian Trail, attempt it, using this EPAX duplex tent. Very popular tent, you can't go wrong with it. All right, let's get over to the other tent. Hey, welcome back. Anyways, we're over here by this other tent. It is a Z-Plex. I think it's the Ultra one person. So it's extra long, extra tall. The tall requires you to have trekking pole, just one. Only takes one trekking pole to set this tent up. But it needs to extend to 60 inches. My aluminum poles I have on the duplex tent does not. That is the reason why I bought the carbon fiber poles back in January, and then promptly snapped them in my car door. That was that previous video there. Anywho, this is my roommate's trekking pole that he took to Scotland, so thank you, roommate. Just using it for demonstration. However, it is also a trekking pole that does not extend to 60 inches. So I had to buy a pole extender. So this is a piece right here that you attach to the bottom of your pole that helps it extend to 60 inches so that you get the height you need for the space. It is same design as the duplex. It's a bathtub style base. Everything's set up, guide wires. It only has one vestibule, and that is the front, whereas the duplex has two, one in the front and one in the back. So again, the duplex, even if it's just me, I have a lot more space to spread things out, and inclement weather and stuff, and so therefore I can stay in the tent and not feel cramped. And here, my only complaint is you only have basically half of a tent to really have your headroom in. So you're sitting like this most of the time. You can't spread out or whatever that you typically do in a tent. I like to move around a little bit, like to stretch when I'm in a tent. Inclement weather like rain and snow and wind and stuff. This tent does well in. Don't get me wrong, even though it's taller and it has a little bit more of a profile for wind, it does well. It does well. I have no complaints on that. It's just that I made the decision that I wanted a little bit larger living space, and I'm willing to pay the price a little bit in the form of just a couple more ounces of weight. The irony here, though, is even with this pole extender and 2 more stakes, it takes 10 stakes to set this tent up properly. This tent still weighs overall less than, by just a couple ounces, than the duplex tent that I have. Again, a lot of that is mitigating factors. I could have gone with carbon fiber poles that I didn't, that hopefully I would not snap, and that would reduce the overall weight greatly. But then again, I could use the carbon fiber poles over on my tent there. So what it really does is it eliminates the need for this piece right here, because the carbon fiber poles can extend to 60 inches if you're looking and you're cognate of looking for poles that do extend to 60 inches. So you eliminate this piece here, but this piece is only an ounce or two. It's not much. And then the stakes themselves, again, I'm using 6-inch ultralight titanium stakes off of Z-Packs. They weigh almost nothing. They don't have a great profile for like gripping in sand and stuff, but I'm not going to be in sand. I'm being on the Appalachian Trail on the East Coast in the mountains. So I got rocks and roots and everything else to deal with. So as long as I can get the stake in the ground, it's going to hold. And that's all I need to do. If that doesn't work, then I'll find alternatives like rocks and stuff to tie my guidelines to. Anyways, this tent does retail far more expensive. I think it's like $150 more expensive than the duplex. It does take up less square footage, like less area. So if you're coming into a crowded campsite and you're always doing it, this might be the tent to go with. That is a downside I'm going to have with the duplex tent that I'm taking is I am starting my hike on the Appalachian Trail, the attempt. I always stress the attempt because I know it's an attempt. It's not a guarantee that I can finish, but my goal is to finish. But I'm starting in the bubble. A lot of people are starting their Appalachian Trail through hike when I am. In fact, when I registered on the ATC website, over 50 people had already registered to start the trail on April 1st. That's the people who registered. Don't know how many more people, that are going to attempt that just don't care and don't register. So there's going to be a fair amount of people on the trail when I attempt it. That wraps it for the day. That is my big 3. Let me get up here. It sucks getting old, people. All right. So my big 3 is going to be the Z-Packs duplex tent, the Western Mountaineering 25-degree down sleeping bag, the Nemo Tensor sleeping pad, and then the Evolved, the Ranger backpack right there. That is my big 3. They combined together weigh about 125 ounces or 7.8 pounds. That's it. It's a nice day. It's getting warm. I'm gonna pack things up here because I'm using my complex's park, and there have been a couple people who want to roam around in here with their dogs and stuff. So I'm gonna be polite to them and pack up, go back to my place, and continue working on all the little things that I need to do so that I can step onto the trail this Saturday. Looking forward to it. You guys take care, you have fun, and I'll see you next time.